If you're looking to buy a house or maybe considering it, you might have heard right now that sellers are being very stubborn. Today, we're going to answer at least one of my prevailing theories on why it's happening. And we're going to use a real life example from someone I met with today. I was the third agent that they were talking today. And guess what my advice was to them after chatting with them? Don't sell. It's a terrible time to sell, and you're going to be put in a really tough spot if you put your house on the market. So why did I say that? And if they do list, why are they adding more to the problem? A lot of good questions today. Let's get to it. For those that don't know who I am, hi, my name is Javi. I've been making videos for a very long time, and I make videos to educate you on the home buying process so you don't get taken advantage of when you start looking to buy a home soon. And my hope is when you're ready to look for a house that you'd consider me in the Phoenix, Arizona area, or consider getting a trusted agent referral from my network down in the description. Okay, so let's go over what the situation for these people are first. They purchased a house about 2 years ago, and it's a really nice community, brand new house. But right now, they have 2 kids that are in high school, and they're driving about 15 minutes to go to school and 15 minutes to go back. I guess the kids were going to the new school in the area, but the football program isn't as good as it was when they were back there. So the area they ended up moving from, they are going back to that school. They're spending about 30 to 60 minutes of traffic unnecessarily every day. Their goal is to sell that house, get the earnings of that house, and go back to where they were to purchase another home, since it just makes a lot more sense for the 2 kids and whatnot. So like I said, I was like the third or fourth agent that they were meeting, and they were just interviewing different agents. So when I came into the situation, here's what I saw. Now, please keep in mind, I have adjusted the numbers just to protect some sort of privacy here, so they're not exact, but they're pretty close. They purchased the property for $460,000 2 years ago. Now, there's a key issue with where they're living. There's a bunch of new builds, just like literally, like if the house is right here, this is a street, there's like new builds right here. And then there's like just like 5 minutes that way, there's like new builds here. Okay. So they're just surrounded by new builds. Their house is about it was 4-bedroom, 2-bath. I think it was 2,000 square feet. And guess what? The new builds were also 4-bedroom, 2-bath options. And there's some options for 2,000 square feet. Looking at the comparable sales, meaning houses that have sold in the area, the only one that really has sold, I think that was somewhat similar, was one that sold for $440,000. And that sold like 3, 4, 5 months ago. So now originally when they purchased the house, they put about, I'm going to change the number a bit, about let's say $80,000 down. So their loan amount was give or take about $380,000. So obviously their goal is they would like to sell that house right here for, I think they wanted to start like around $500,000, right? So that way, not only are they going to get their down payment back, but they're going to potentially make up to $40,000 in additional equity. Now, here's the glaring issues that I started noticing right away. These new builds right here are selling roughly between $440,000 to about $480,000, around there. Now, here's the problem with new builds. Well, problem if you're a seller, not a problem if you're a buyer. If you buy a resale right now, let's say you're going with a conventional loan, you're getting about, at the moment, about a 7% interest rate. And yet, technically, the terms are negotiable, like the price and whatnot. But even if you're able to get closing costs, like seller concessions, the max allowable amount of seller concessions with a conventional loan is 3%. So if even you wanted to get 3% from the closing cost from the seller and not use that to pay your closing costs, but use it to buy your rate down, you're maybe going to get it down to like the mid sixes, maybe if you're lucky, like low sixes. So you're not really getting like a bunch of a massive discount with going with the resale. Now, with the new build, they're able to surpass that 3% allowable concessions because they own the mortgage company. So they, according to them, at the beginning of every quarter, they buy a bunch of interest rates down. So essentially, the incentives they give to the buyers looking to buy the house is, let's just say they're looking to sell a $460,000 house. They're giving them an interest rate. I think last I checked, currently in this Phoenix market, conventional is like 5.25% range is what they're giving. But if you go FHA, I've seen some go as low as 4.25 to like 4.5. So this right here, this is pretty massive, because if you wanted to do that with the other situation right here, first of all, you can't use the seller's concessions. You can only use up to 3% of it. You would have to spend, I think the last time I did the math was like up to $25,000 of your own money to buy this rate down that low. So they're able to just give that because they do it initially. They own all the companies, the lender, they're the builders. So they're able to somehow make it work. So as a buyer, this is a pretty massive, great thing because you'll see your payment go down like $400 to $500. Now, on top of that, you're also paying a lot less interest per month. So like I've seen some calculations where, let's say you're buying a $450,000 house, instead of paying like $500K of interest after 30 years, you're paying less than the purchase price. Right? It's like actually makes sense to do this route. So if you're looking to buy a house in this area, are you going to go for the resale that's 3 years old, 2 years old for 460? Or actually, sorry, 500? Or are you just going to go around the corner and get yourself a brand new build? It's a no-brainer. It just doesn't make sense. The only way you're going to attract somebody to go away from those new builds is if you make the price so good that it's like, man, that's just worth it. And what I saw was there isn't really many houses for sale. I think the new build, like I said, I don't think they were 440. It was closer to like the 450, I think. The cheapest house I saw that was a resale was like 430 around there to 440. So what I told them was it's possible. You can definitely do this. You're not going to be able to recoup your $80,000. You're going to probably take a loss, sell it for about 430 to 440, and you're going to be able to get out of the house, but you're going to be put in this terrible spot. Now, here's some other things that I also recommended. On top of everything, they had like a pretty sweet interest rate. I think it was 3.5%. I can't remember the top of my head. So they're leaving behind a really great interest rate. And the next house that they would buy, that would be at least at 7%. So their payment's going to go, even though they're buying around the same price range, their payment will be up like $500 more expensive. On top of that, they're actually going through some financial struggles right now. They were hoping that the sale of the house would be able to provide some money that they need to pay off credit card debt. They were going to use their tax refund, which was like a few $1,000s, to use as their earnest deposit because they don't even have the earnest deposit ready to go. Most of the realtors that met with them today said, yeah, we'll list your price for $500,000. We're going to put the house on the market and all that stuff, right? But it just didn't quite make sense to me. And what I recommended ultimately is don't sell the house. Hold on to it. I would rather you struggle and drive your kids to an extra work every day or to school an extra 20, 30 minutes every day, well, technically up to an hour when you're going back and forth. They even said, well, one of my kids even, one of them were even saying that they're going to want a car so they can drive themselves. I'd say, great, buy them a car instead of buying a house because it just doesn't make financial sense for you to go from a situation where you have a great interest rate, a great monthly payment, to put yourself in a situation where, guess what? It's going to be even tighter. You're going to be house broke at that point. So it makes more sense to invest in a small little beater up car than to go and do all that. They appreciated my honesty, and ultimately, I don't know what they're going to decide to end up doing. It just kind of brings back the point of why sellers are doing what they're doing. A lot of sellers are finding themselves in a situation where they have to write a check or maybe just cut even if they bought 2 years ago. And a lot of agents, quite frankly, will just try. They'll just say, let's just try, put it on the market for $500,000. And, I offer that to them. We can try, but honestly, we're just kind of wasting time because it's just a no-brainer. If you're looking to buy, why would you go for the resale when the new builds are around the corner? You're going to save $500 a month in just the lack of the lower interest. So a lot of agents will just take these listings and just honestly add more inventory than what we really need. When in reality, the advice we should be giving these people is like, hey, I know it sucks driving that extra 20, 30 minutes, but just hold on. Like, you don't have to sell anything quite yet. Just hold on. Now, what does this mean to you as a home buyer? This is the situation that we're finding ourselves in. We have sellers who are not just selling their home where their little baby grew up or where they had a lot of like nurturing memories. They're selling a low interest rate. They're selling a lower monthly payment. For them to get rid of these things, they're just going to need to make the numbers work in their favor. So I've seen this many times this last few months. A seller has a house on the market 100 plus days. They've had no price reduction. There's literal comps of their same exact house selling for $20,000 to $40,000 less than what they're listed for. So we're reasonable and we offer 20 to 40K, at least some of them. So I have some other buyers that are like low ballers. So, but let's just say the most of my buyers are reasonable and we offer them where we think it's worth. And the sellers hit us back with the no thanks, bro. Do you not want to sell your house? Like, what's happening here? Or maybe, like I just had this happen recently, the roof might need to be replaced, or there's like literal mold issues with the house, and the seller just goes, nah, I'm not doing a damn thing. I can just replace the roof myself and put it on the market for another $30,000. Yeah, bro, like that makes sense. When have you ever seen a buyer go, ooh, this house had a price increase, let's go look at this house right away? They're not all unreasonable. There's a lot of good people out there, a lot of reasonable sellers that are just like, listen, we just need to get out. We're not gonna make a ton of money no more. Or hey, this is just the bottom line. And if we don't get this number, then we're just not gonna sell. But unfortunately, those sellers are clogging up the inventory, right? We have a record amount of inventory right now in Arizona. I don't know where your neck of the woods, how things are, but we just have an excess amount of houses for sale, which in my opinion, if you're not able to fluctuate on the price or really be open to the idea that, hey, I might not be selling for as much as I want, then you probably shouldn't be on the market. So in my opinion, part of this divide, part of this reason why this market hasn't not been improving, why we're not seeing a market adjustment is the really a huge amount of stubborn sellers that probably that don't want to accept the reality that their house is worth less than what it really is and things aren't going. Okay. And yes, you can blame your realtor for not doing the right marketing, not doing all the open houses. But at the end of the day, if you have a gallon of milk in one grocery store for $2.99 and you have a gallon of milk in another grocery store for $19.99, but it has a dancing, booty shaking people, all men and women just shaking their booty like really, hey, buy this milk for $19.99. Yeah, you might get lucky and someone might buy that, but almost everybody will just say, that's great, but we're going to go buy the milk at $2.99 because it's the same product. Why would I go and expend more for that, right? So maybe that's a little bit extreme example. It's late at night. I'm sorry. Did you imagine me shaking my booty? I apologize for that visual. That's not a good visual to have. What do you guys think? What is the reason we're stuck in this position? Why has the market not been improving? I would love to hear what you guys think about it. And while you're down below commenting and telling me what your thoughts are, if you're interested in meeting with me in Phoenix, Arizona area, or just interested in my home buyer resources, you can go to my website, javiervidana.com. You can access the description below, the resources there. And if you're looking for an agent referral with a trusted realtor anywhere in the country that's not Arizona, make sure to go to homeandmoney.com/Javier. Click a few buttons, you get connected with a great realtor. Cool. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Looking forward to a good conversation down below. Oh, by the way, I have to tell you this before they get angry. If you want a great community of just home buyers and people that are struggling right now, check out the Discord. Link in the description. Bye.